Hello, everybody. My name is Queen Anne Cannon, and I'd like to welcome you to Peninsula View. We have a really great show. It looks like I'm going to interview someone, but I'm not. I'm just going to introduce the topic, and I'm going to let Reverend Barry Houston do all the talking because he's got a lot of information to cover, and I just want to break it up in three pieces. So that's the only time you're going to see me. But we're going to be talking about the House of Sankofa. And so welcome to the show, Mr. Houston. And I'm really excited about you being on the show. So the first I'd like to do is talk about how this whole creation got started, the House of Sankofa. So would you give us a background on that?
Oh, yes, okay. Yes. First, let me thank you for having us here and giving us the ability to express ourselves. The House of Sankofa, it is an idea many years in the making. To be exact, my physical time on the grounds of Fisk University from 1978 to 1982 is when I originally had the idea of the House of Sankofa. And what motivated me to do that was I met three individuals in that experience that really propelled me into moving forward with the idea. Is that first of all, you know, the Sankofa is that the symbol of a mystical bird out of West Africa. And what it does is, when you see that symbol, it's a bird actually with its head turned backwards. And that's just to symbolize that, to tell us as a collective, we are never to forget where we come from. And so that's one level. Then the other level is it is a collective healing for us as well as our strength. But to go back to the three individuals and when I speak of three individuals that gave me the motivation to start the House of Sankofa, that would be who we know as Stokely Carmichael, who's renamed Kwame Ture, and Dr. John Henry Clark, world-renowned historian, and also Dr. Yusuf bin Yakanan. And I would say that with those three individuals, I kind of looked at as my foundation, so to speak, for the House of Sankofa.
And from there, you started to germinate the idea of the House of Sankofa. So did it take you? What kind of things did you have to go through to bring it into creation?
Well, it's you know, all things begin with cycles and journeys, and as I say, Fisk University was my testing ground or training ground, so to speak, because it is there that I had the ability to interact with these three individuals, as I named, and to explore and get an expository on all the evidence that we need to start a spiritual house. Is what the House of Sankofa really is. And you see that these ideas, as you say, about the House of Sankofa, you got a copy of that. But we say it very succinctly here. The House of Sankofa promotes the spirit of self-knowledge through the process of self-acceptance, self-help, self-discovery, and self-preservation. Also, participate in the process of the rescue, the reconstruction, and the restoration of African history and culture, and proclaims and establishing African worldview of seeking truth, of seeking to reveal truth, produce justice, and produce correctness. And that, in a nutshell, encapsulates
the beginning. And so you started to write down things that you wanted to have at the revealing of the House of Sankofa. So you wanted to have these things written, right?
Yes.
And so when you got that, so now we're going to go into the next part of it's not an interview, it's really just like a talk and a sharing and discovering the information about the House of Sankofa. So where is it now? From that beginning, it is now in a different place.
Yes. Well, we actually now have what we call an order of service. We have different chapters, Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, you have them in different places?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Nashville, Tennessee.
So that's a big thing,
Yes, it is.
to have, because that means that you have other people
Yes.
who feel the same way, who
Yes.
decide to join you and then start. So are these people that you trained, or did you guys come together at some point?
Well, we have in the House of Sankofa what is called, we have two levels, an MIT program, which ministers in training, and then we open it up to the general public. The general public meaning Africans in America.
Okay. And so in the service is pretty much the same in the different locations that you have them?
Whether you are in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Dayton, Ohio, or Overland Park, Kansas, the idea of the order of service is the same in each area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what usually happens? Let's go through the order of service.
Well, the order of service is something, one of the first things we do. We always pay homage to what you may know as the Black National Anthem. And
Lift every voice.
This is how we open up everywhere in every chapter. And then we go right into the libation. This is where we give praise and thanks to our ancestors, because we understand and know that there's nothing that we do or can or cannot do without the blessings of our ancestors. And we go right into the spiritual reading.
So let's talk about the spiritual reading. Could you give us an example of the spiritual reading if we were there, so for our audience who's like watching us, they may have some idea of what that would be like.
Well, a spiritual reading, we have what is called the order of service. And as I told you about giving libation, paying homage to the ancestors. And right after that, we have a pledge, a collective pledge, and then the spiritual reading. And now the spiritual reading is anything that any one of the members in the audience may have encountered that week, or it doesn't have to be a length on it, but anything that can share and make all of us strong and move us forward. That's why we underline it as spiritual readings.
Okay, so the promise is that I promise to produce justice. I promise to produce correctness in every area of my life, in all places, at all times. That is quite a confirmation, right?
Yes.
Everyone says this as a commitment to be part of the House of Sankofa's journey.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have a plan for the future, or not the future? We're not going to get into touch with the future. I want to stay with the present. So right now, your audience consists of who?
Well, our audience consists of Africans in America. This is why we have constructed the House of Sankofa.
Okay. So is that African descent, or I mean?
I would say in your language we say Black people in America.
Okay, good. That's my language.
Yeah.
I can understand that because now there is Africans in America.
Yes.
They come from different countries in Africa.
Yes.
So which is quite distinct from black people in America.
Yeah, well, we don't separate in the House of Sankofa because there's one global African community.
Okay.
And as Brother Malcolm X says in his book on Malcolm X on Afro-American history, we are all Africans in America, and that's how we look at it.
Oh, okay, okay, good. So now we're going to go into, I like your dedication that you have here too. So I'm going to read the dedication. I dedicate my life to the service of one army,
One aim.
one God, one destiny.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. I love that. And so do you usually do the spiritual reading? Not just you, but someone else, but
Well,
mainly it's constructed around your premise, right?
Well, as the members come in, and if however they are moved with whatever's on their heart, they will do the spiritual reading. But that pledge you just read, see, we call that the pledge portion, and I do that. And if you're familiar with one aim, one God, and one destiny, that is a mantra direct from the Marcus Garvey era.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I wasn't familiar with that piece, but I do know of Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
Now, we talked earlier, and you said that you have a list of books that you recommend for people to come in, and there's some of them are special books.
Yes, yes. Well, we have what we call signature books.
Signature books, that's the word I was trying to...
And that's open for every member that comes into the House of Sankofa. And that to give them a foundation of our scope and vision, those signature books. Now we have a total of about 4 different book lists, which totals about 400 to 600 books.
Whew.
But signature books is what you absolutely must know. And the number one signature book for every member is Stolen Legacy by George M. James. The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. The Black Man of the Nile by Yusuf bin Yaqanan. My Life in Search of Africa by Dr. John Henry Clark. And then, of course, The Psychopathic Racial Personality by Dr. Bobby Wright. Peace and blessings upon his name. He's no longer with us. And then the textbook for the victims of white supremacy.
Wow.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about one of those? What it covers, what it talks about?
Well, let's say, for instance, the textbook for the victims of white supremacy. This is a very critical book. It's why it's part of the signature books because, for instance, what you may see in just cursory language, what you hear people saying, they use the term racism. Well, if you have that signature book and you're part of the House of Sankofa, then you know that the correct definition of racism is white supremacy.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that.
Well, that's the correct definition of it, of the term. And when you give people that foundation, they're not confused on incorrect terms when, for instance, like reverse racism or affirmative action or something like that.
So now I just want to make it clear that you're not talking reverse racism or violent. It's just give people an education on where they are right now.
It is always, we say, seek truth. When you find the truth, what are you going to do with it? You have to produce justice and correctness with that truth that you find. And the truth is in the definition of the words themselves.
So, and I understand you've read a lot of books.
Yes.
And this is what you've surmised from the books that you've read. You call the signature books, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
how many books have you read? Quite a few. I know I probably shouldn't have asked that question because so many you don't even remember.
Right.
But it's like in the...
But let's say, as I said to you, this whole experience would correctly have started in my experience at Fisk University in 1978. Now, it was through that experience that I got into the habit of reading a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 4 books per week. Now, if now you can do the math, you know.
Yeah, so if it's since 1972, 2 to 4 books a week,
yes,
you've read a lot of books,
yes,
okay?
yes.
But it seems like you digest them too. You digest the book so you can remember what you read and put it in perspective.
Yes.
Okay, good. So now, how many people? How do people come? They just come out of someone say, "Come and visit me. Come and be here. Come to the service."
Well, at this point in time, with all the chapters, it's mainly word of mouth.
Oh, okay.
And we do have a website.
And the website, I think, is under your name as you appear on TV.
And
so if they want more information, you can always go to the website and seek more information.
Yeah. And on the website, you see. We don't call our Sunday services, which we meet every Sunday at 10:30, all over in all
everywhere.
The
you meet at 10:30.
Yeah, and but what we have when the people come inside the buildings, we call them lesson studies. We don't call them sermons. We call them lesson studies.
Now, I just want to hear another book, one of the signature books.
Yes.
A little bit about that. Another one of the books.
Okay. Well, let's speak for the textbook for the victims of white supremacy. Right there, where we say that there's no major problem that you can solve among people without first eliminating the major problem on planet Earth, and that's what we incorrectly call racism, but what is correctly called white supremacy.
So you start with the language.
Yes.
And then after that, well, once you start with the language, what happens after the language has been corrected?
Well, this is where again we, for instance, another book is Stolen Legacy that was written by George M. James. 2 principles in that book. We try to share that with everybody. First, to first learn what you have contributed to the table of humanity. And the second principle is learn what everybody else have contributed to that same table. Because if people abided by those 2 principles, there would be less conflict.
Okay, so say that again. Learn by what you've contributed?
Learn all that you have contributed to move humanity forward.
And
the second principle is to learn what other people have brought to that same table.
Okay.
You know,
so it sort of would bring people more together. They'd have a different appreciation.
And see, we are in what we call Black History Month. And so the foundation of that is that what you call Black history is just the forgotten part of world history.
I see. Okay. So now we're going to go into the last segment. I know it's going pretty fast because this is a lot to cover in 27 minutes, but we're going to do our best. Is where do you see the future for the House of Sankofa? Where would you like to see it in terms of growth in all the areas that it now exists?
Well, and I can put it in 3 things, which currently and moving forward. Our number 1 mission is for us to rehumanize ourselves to ourselves. Secondly, it's for us to understand that there's no such thing as a statute of limitations on the application of justice. And then that the third and most profound thing is to understand our sole reason for our existence. We must act as if our sole reason for us being here right now is for the elimination of what we incorrectly call racism, but what is correctly called white supremacy.
And how is that? And that's the future, right?
That's the future.
And so, as a result of that happening, what will we have? What will exist then?
Well, you see, when I say that, I'm speaking of an unjust system, and so you cannot have peace in the true sense of the word, without justice, without the application of justice. And so with that eliminated, we would have peace all over the planet Earth.
With all nations.
With all nations.
And how I don't know, I may be jaded, but it looks like war is a part of our society.
Yeah.
So are you saying that we would have peace, meaning no war?
Peace in the true sense of the word, no war. Peace, absence of war. Like Dr. King used to say, that this thing about studying war no more. We wouldn't be geared to that if we applied justice, you see.
And that's with the different nations, different countries.
On planet Earth, all
planet
over
Earth. And then what would it look like? I don't even know how to look at that.
Well, but see,
I guess I'm so into war and poverty and like it's part of life. It's like I've come to think of it as.
But see, this is why we say also part of our mission in the House of Sankofa is the reconstruction, the rescue, and the restoration of our ancient personalities.
So with that, how do you expect that in your lifetime?
Well, I don't. It's the correct way that we tell people to look at that question, because we're asked that all the time. Is not, do we expect that in our lifetime, because it's finite. But the difference is, just like Dr. King told us, to work for it.
Oh, so that's the journey.
Yes.
That's the journey of it.
Yes.
Proclaims and establish an African worldview of seeking to reveal the truth, produce justice, produce correctness.
Yes.
Is the journey of the House of Sankofa.
It's the journey of all of us.
All mankind.
Yes.
And you're actually dealing with the House of Sankofa, which is the black man in America.
Yes. You see that, and that's a critical thing for. You see that there's a global African community. We embrace icons in our experience, meaning the black experience in America. One of those icons, of course, Dr. King. Another one is Malcolm X. He told us that we could not put kittens in the oven and take them out as biscuits.
Oh, say it again. Oh, my God.
You could never put kittens in the oven, kittens, and take them out as biscuits. And that is a symbol and a spiritual teaching for us, meaning that no matter how long we have been here in America, we never would be what you call Americans. At best, we are Africans in America, because we are the same today as our ancestors were when they touched the shores of America.
Wow. Well, that is an input into the thinking that we have now, at least into my thinking that I have now.
Yes.
So, in you see that as something that's going to take on being the thought, going across all the centers that you now have.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. And so, how long have you had the House of Sankofa?
Well, let's say about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the time, so it took a while to get it so that it is a organized piece of information that can be duplicated in different places.
Yeah, and different places. And setting up the MIT program, and even have people to come in to introduce these ideas to very people, you see. And our mission is very simple. We would like to tell people we cross the bridge that you're on. So there's no reason for us to get into a knockdown, drag out with our brothers and sisters, because we cross that same bridge. And we just tell them it's time for all of us to raise our conscious level and embrace these truths about ourselves.
Now, I just want to say for the viewing audience, it may sound kind of revolutionary, right? There's a revolutionary kind of sound to it. But I didn't have that feeling when I went into the house. It was very warm, very acceptance, very hospitable, very safe.
Yeah.
So there was all that sense
Yeah.
of it. So it's not like there's something to be threatened by. So
Yeah,
it's non-threatening.
No, you see, one of the things, see, this is why we say we have to, this thing about seeking truth, producing justice and correctness. One of the things, as far as us being here in America, one of the things that has happened to us is that we are confused on terms. You see, and but now, what we are suggesting here in the House of Sankofa to everybody is to, as far as those, if you're not doing those three things, and this is for all humans,
And those three things are
seeking truth,
seeking truth,
producing justice, and producing correctness with that truth that you find. If you're not doing that, you cannot justify your reason for living.
is to really bring up the consciousness at all levels, no matter where you are in the spectrum.
Yes, you know, you use the word revolutionary. Well, change, all change is, that's the definition of change. Revolution means change.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm saying, this is the normal activity of all human beings, or should be on the planet, as far as us seeking truth, producing justice, and producing correctness with that truth, so that we can act in more harmony with all human beings, all plants, all animals, and all things.
Well, I just really want to thank you for being willing to come on the show and talk about it. I just wanted to give you the whole platform, because it's not like I could do an interview like back and forth. So really, thank you for being my guest today.
Well, I thank you for having us here and giving us the ability to express ourselves.
And if people want to know more information, you just go to the website that's available now. So there you have it, the House of Sankofa, the past, the present, and the future. So if you have any other questions, go to the website and please, see more information about the House of Sankofa. So thank you very much for watching Peninsula View, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye.